Climate change is going to affect us all. I think that people haven't realized how close to home the global warming problem really is. It's been the warmest century ever. 1998 was the warmest year on record, and the warming is happening faster than people really expected. So this is something that really will hit home to people all around the world. It'll be affecting them in their everyday lives, but we have to explain more how that's going to happen.
There, don't drop.
At my time, we had the salmons were very big and fat. You know how, when you see a fat one, it's very big, round, and large. Some of them were really fighters. Hardly we see any of them right now. Some salmons are not even good. They don't even taste good to eat.
Both the state and federal government last year declared the chum and Chinook salmon return on the Yukon River disaster and the red salmon return to Bristol Bay a disaster. But we're talking, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars of impact. From a commercial standpoint, subsistence fisheries are, you can't quantify the value because it's something that's important to people's cultures and lifestyle and family.
In the 1990s, we're looking at the ocean being much warmer and also much fresher. It means there's more fresh water coming from rain or from snow melt from glaciers. And both of those things are doing is sealing off the surface of the ocean from the deep ocean. The deep ocean has lots of nutrients, but no light. The surface has lots of light, but little nutrients. So as we lose the ability for the oceans to pump nutrients up to where the plants are, we're seeing the productivity of the ocean being reduced. They were very stable until the turn of this century, and they've now increased by about 0.6 or 0.7 degrees Celsius. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge increase compared to anything seen in the last 1,000 years. What's even more concerning to many of us is the projections are that because of increased CO2, we're looking at that much change every decade, continuously for the next 100 years because of increased greenhouse gases.
I like it. It's a good idea. Yes.
All the changes we see in the Bering Sea and in the Arctic are very likely related to global climate change and to a man-made influence on the climate by burning of fossil fuels.
WWF sees global warming as one of the most urgent problems facing us today, and the signs that we're seeing of change in the seas, the melting ice in the Arctic, the problems for the coral reefs and the threat to the salmon are all symptoms of what could become a much, much worse problem in the future. So it's really urgent that we do something about it now.
England, the fish inside had gone rotten. What they did was, it was always ladies working at this job, and I've never seen any pictures or read any stories of men. But this stuff is all dry.
We need to turn down the heat in order to stop global warming. We have to go from the political level, where governments have to take bold and effective action, through to individuals contacting their politicians and telling them they would like to see changes, down to what any individual can do in their own home, turning off the lights or turning down the thermostat. We all have a responsibility to do something about this. Governments clearly have to make the first move, and we need regulation in most of the industrialized world to reduce emissions of what are called greenhouse gases, the gases that warm up the atmosphere. And that's really coming from power stations and from vehicle exhausts. Governments have to make the first move, and they have agreed to make some cuts in greenhouse gases, but they're not really implementing those yet. And so what we're saying is you really need to move fast to stop this problem. If you do this right, there should be economic benefits, and there'll be jobs created in industries like the renewable energy industry, energy services, people who are helping companies be more efficient or conserve energy. So we should see more jobs in a world where we try to control carbon pollution. Well, there's some momentum. We've already put so much carbon pollution in the atmosphere that warming is going to have some